Oh, do I have to address this? We are on Son of a Bitch Nation, Silver and Black Pride. They most definitely do not like people who speak out against, like, NFL protests. It's a quick way to get banned from the site. Try it. Trust me. Been there, done that. Because they're extremely ignorant. The Raiders have been playing in this stadium that has a baseball field on it half the year. And many of the ticket prices, from what I can understand, are below other teams' ticket prices. Certainly the accommodations there are subpar, if not subhuman. The football players themselves have spoke about free running sewerage in the locker rooms. When Del Rio came on board, he wanted to do all these upgrades, and Mark Davis allowed him. There were upgrades to do, you know. It'd been in disrepair for that long. And so is Oakland. Oakland has been rapidly declining. Now, I've spoken about this before, and you just called a racist. Just call me an omni-racist, because I'm going to come down hard and heavy on the stupid people of California, which equals the stupid people where I live in Massachusetts. Well, you've had a head start, and you've taken the cake. Back when this stadium was created, where the Raiders play right now, it was a much different state in California. The demographics, you can look up. I don't have them in front of me, but I can sort of remember some of them. And I've never lived in California, but I can see the demographics. I can see my own city hits. The demographics have changed. When they created this stadium, they did this for the county because basically they had all this extra money. They weren't overtaxing the people of California or that region. And it was a semi-normal location. It did not have an overwhelming amount of thuggery. It does now. And since that time, we're talking about late 60s when it was completed, early 70s, you know, that during that time. There's been a lot of years since then. And the Raiders have left at one point in time, come back. And the whole area has changed, like I said. I don't care if you like it or not, but those are the facts. Oakland used to be predominantly white, and it had a sizable black population. And that we're talking about late 60s, early 70s. And then that all flipped on its head. All of a sudden, it's more, you have severe white flight, and you have actually Mexican, Spanish people, more of the majority now, and blacks actually on the decline from the late 60s, early 70s. You have a wide sweeping change in demographics. That's a fact, and people don't like to look at that. They don't like it. That's racist. Too fucking bad. It's the truth. Now let's look into something a little more, because I am going to put my fingerprint on this one right now. Some Vegas paper, who's going to host the Raiders, Vegas, labels Oakland fans in Blackhole as scary, intimidating, not family friendly. I'd have to agree with that. It's not because of the costuming. It's because of all the other things that happen. All the other things, the fights, just the uncivilized behavior of a lot of the people who go to Oakland Raider games, It's been that way for a long time. It's not going to be tolerated in Las Vegas. The Raiders are a tenant, will be a tenant in Las Vegas until the NFL comes around and wants to add another team there. And they're going to have to clean up certain things. And I've seen this happen before. It wasn't as bad as Oakland and even LA had this reputation with all the gangs that adopted the Raiders' colors. It wasn't always this way, but it was definitely not where I'm going to compare it to. I'm going to compare it to Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts was owned by trusteeship for years. And when they decide to sell that off, move it off, spin it off, or whatever you want to call it off, a bunch of extremely rich people came in. And to go to Fenway Park in the 70s or the 80s and to go in the stands of the Bleachers, which would be the equivalent of the Blackhole, you would not really call that family friendly. There were lots of drunken people, lots of fights, lots of swearing. I mean, it's straight out of Cheers. If you ever watch Cheers, Collar on Cheers, she's always arguing, sports history. That's a Red Sox fan in the late 70s, early 80s. Maybe, probably before then too, but probably more the 70s and 80s. They would scream at the opposing player, warming up in the bullpen, just right, out in the bleachers, and they would talk about his sister and his mother and blah blah blah. But they knew drunkenly, still they knew everything that was to know about that player's entire career. Everything. All the stats just came rolling right off the head. That was Fenway Park. Swearing, beer, cigarette smoke everywhere. Just really heavy. You're just engulfed in smoke. Smoke, beer, peanuts. That was Fenway Park. But now these new owners, a group of owners came in with one controlling partner, a controlling person, or whatever you want to call it, and things changed. And it started at the cash register. They raised the ticket prices. And they did all these amendments to the stadium, and pretty soon the people who would go there and get drunk and scream their head off, swear their head off, they not only could not afford to go to the game anymore, because it was outrageous. It was like football price tickets now. They weren't going to be allowed to do that anymore. I wonder how many Raider fans realize this. They're moving away from Oakland, probably for a reason, but more than just to get a new stadium. They don't own this stadium. I don't believe they do. This is going to be owned by the state or whatever. This is going to be a multi-purpose stadium, and trust me, they're not going to allow fights in the stadium, drunken debauchery, and stuff like that you might see in the Blackhole or somewhere in Oakland. There's always these fights. It's always showing these fights. And I'm telling you that they're moving into this swanky new stadium, and they're looking to upgrade their image. from like the bad boys to some sort of slick new product. Trust me. I don't care. You can sit there and look at Derek Carr. You can look at all these plays and their charity in the region and blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, money talks, bullshit walks, and there are changes coming. If you don't think there's going to be changes coming, you got some news coming to you. It's hard to win this argument right now because they're taking their sweet time to move to Las Vegas. The assholes that stole the LA market from the Raiders, the Chargers, they're playing in a little dinky stadium. But the Raiders, they're going to come back to Oakland. And we're going to play in Oakland. We're going to play in this shitty field. And, but I'm telling you, mark my words, there's going to be delays, watch, so it's going to take a long time to mark my words. You're going to see a different sort of a fan in the stadium. Certain fans are not going to be allowed there. The ones that just get in an argument and they're so stupid they can't debate. They go straight for the physical. They start punching the person. It's happens all the time in Oakland. I'm telling you that is not going to be tolerated. They're going to be looking for a much different audience. And some of the things people have said about, how the Raiders may lose a lot of fans. Maybe their stadium is full of other teams, like the opposing team's fan who does a Vegas weekend vacation to watch their team, that the stadium could be a mixed bag. I mean, that alone is going to change the whole dynamic of the Raiders' home field advantage, or whatever you want to call it. It's hard to say the Raiders have a home field advantage because up until fairly recently, they haven't won at all. I mean, that's really why they're leaving town. I mean, had they been winning the past decade and putting a better product out there, maybe they could have convinced someone locally, meaning through the local politics, to build a stadium. But it is what it is. Money walks, bullshit. Money talks, bullshit walks. And they're going into a new stadium, and I'm telling you, it is going to be cross your hands and behave yourself. It's quite possible, because I don't know who is going to be involved in the security of this new stadium, and it would be the type of thing that would be taken maybe a little more seriously than what is found in Oakland. I don't know if they would really come down heavy on something like this. I'm sure these are plastic, but they could be flailed around, and just really, since 9/11, people are accused of doing things before they do things. But there are plenty of people, I'm not saying in this photograph, that would do things that will not be accepted in this new swanky stadium. Now, this guy is trying to suggest, that, oh, look, this is what happens in Oakland. This is all fan friendly. There was a nasty fight over an Uber. An Uber. What the hell is an Uber? Who came up with Gooba Uber at the last game? This doesn't tell me anything. It shouldn't tell anyone anything. This guy's totally ignorant. Levi Damien. He's totally ignorant. I'm laying the facts on you right now. Once you get some rich people going on, I mean, they still have to pay off. Mark Davis just got a loan from, what was it, Bank of America. He got a loan. He didn't get a free stadium. He got a loan to finance it. Those people are going to take a vested interest in that, because in order to sell tickets, especially luxury box tickets, to get people to go into that stadium, you cannot make them think like they're gonna die. I'm telling you. You can comment below and say all your nasty things to me, but I'm right. And anyone who doesn't think I'm right is a schmuck. There's a lot of money riding on this new stadium. And by the time it actually gets finished, I would have thought, with the weather out there, they just get it going, It doesn't rain. I didn't think there was too much to it, But whenever they get it done, Raider fans who visit there might find it a little bit different. Than what they're used to. You can look up plenty of videos of fights in the stands. I mean, it's been a while since any Raider fans started throwing batteries, but I'm telling you, you're not gonna believe it, because a lot of people listen to this, from their culture, from their surroundings, wherever they're at. They might be used to a certain way of things, and I'm telling you, when all this money, and it's huge money, not just for the stadium, for what goes on in the stadium, what's sold in the stadium, what is gambled in the stadium, with all that riding, the last thing they want to do is to appeal to the lowest common denominators, who cannot afford to lose how much money they intend for you to lose. I'm telling you, this is going to be a nightmare for some people. Dome stadium too, indoor. I still think they should have moved to Las Vegas immediately, just to get it started, because they have a lot of work to do. In order to get, what was it? What's the stadium capacity going to be? 65,000 or something? That's a lot. And right now they don't. Right now they're winning, and they got all this thing going on, all this good stuff going on, and what's going on with Mount Davis? That's never uncovered? They got a lot of work cut out for them in Las Vegas. A lot of people will travel, but still, you're talking about tens of thousands of people, traveling. Unless they're gonna move there, and they might find a lack of jobs, unless they're going to work as a concession stand or something. But mark my words, they're gonna do the same thing they did to Fenway Park. I explained Fenway Park to you, and in some ways it's similar to the the Blackhole, the Bleachers. I mean, the way it was. But then it's all yuppie-dom. Total yuppies. And who can afford those tickets? Just look up the prices. They're like football games. They're like football prices. per game. They play like what, 81 games there a year or something? Yeah, but once again, to conclude, son of a bitch nation, silver and bastard pride is ignorant. And here's the cake winner right here, Levi, Damien. Totally ignorant, does not understand finances, does not understand rich people and how they are going to force the issue whether you like it or fucking not. Signing out.